Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'd like to give a go at answering a question I see a lot on airsoft forums and Facebook alike and what have you. And that is, what do I need to start playing airsoft? And the most simplistic answer is absolutely nothing. And to be quite honest, that is the answer I would give regardless, because if you're new to the sport and you've never tried it before, you've never actually been shot by an airsoft rifle, as much as you may romanticize the idea of the game, when push comes to shove, it may not actually be for you. And the only way you're going to find that out is by getting in there and giving it a go. So my recommendation would actually be, don't invest anything in the game, don't make any purchases because it could end up being completely pointless, and actually go out to your local airsoft site and go for one of their rental packages. Now, the rental packages aren't usually that expensive. They provide you with the bare minimum safety gear as well as a sort of budget line rifle to use for the day as well. So what do you get in your airsoft rental package? Well, the bare minimum you'll get is probably a set of airsoft mesh goggles, which are obviously to protect your little peepers. You'll get a bag of, excuse me while I rearrange everything, you get a bag of BBs, usually around about 3,000, which is enough to refill the standard sort of high cap magazine around 10 times during the day. And you'll get a budget line rifle, probably something very similar to this G&G M4. Now, those will be the bare minimum. Some sites will often also have, and I would recommend if they do, they might provide you with some lower face protection as well, which is pretty much vital, I find. You don't want your teeth taken out. If this is an option at your airsoft field, be sure you ask for it and receive some lower face protection as well. Now, what's the upshot and the downshot of those options? Well, the mesh mask is usually pretty good. There's really no negatives with running one of those, and as I say, I would highly recommend. In terms of the mesh goggles, they do run the risk of shattering the BB upon impact. So what you'd effectively get if you did get shot in the eye, there's a very small chance that the BB might shatter on impact, and then you'd get tiny little fragments just go through. It creates like a dust on your eyeball. It can be a little shocking. It's probably more the shock that will affect you than anything else. The irritation. You'll need to come away from the airsoft field. You certainly need to properly clean your eye and wash it out. You don't want the residue left in there. You'll scratch your eye up and all the rest of it. It's unlikely that enough would go through to actually blind or anything like that, but I suppose there is the outside chance if you were shot point blank range. That being said, like I say, these are the sort of baseline models. You can get some sites provide you with proper perspex ones, which again, if is an option, is probably the better to go for, although you might suffer some steaming up of the lenses. So those are the bare requirements. In terms of what you would wear to the game, I would pick something quite hard wearing in way of trousers and stuff like that. If you've got some proper work trousers, the sort of cargo panted kind or something like that, that can hold your BBs and your extra magazine if you've got one, that kind of thing. Upper body, depends how Rambo you feel. You could go in just a t-shirt and take the hits, which will leave small bruises if you're close enough to your opponent. But if you're not looking to get hurt, or you're not looking to take home any war wounds or bruises, go for probably a hoodie is the best thing. That will take a lot of the sting out altogether, really. One thing to bear in mind as well is the top of your skull. That hurts if it gets shot. For that, I would recommend taking a baseball cap. That takes a lot of the sting out, or even like a beanie cap or something like that. Now, those are the bare requirements. I would recommend footwear wise you go for a boot if possible, just to protect you from rolling your ankles on the rough terrain, but that's more of a sort of a common sense issue rather than what you should or shouldn't wear. Now, one purchase you could consider making, and might even be your first purchase and is fairly inexpensive, would be a set of knuckled gloves. Now, this is purely because, as anyone in airsoft will tell you, taking a shot to the back of your hand, to your fingers, to your knuckles, hurts like buggery. And if you can just avoid that by buying a fairly inexpensive pair of gloves like these, you can pick these up on Amazon or eBay or anywhere. I don't think you'll pay more than about $9.99 for them in some cases. Slightly better ones you might pay a little bit more if you want some extra protection down the backs of your fingers and that kind of thing. But it's possibly a purchase you might consider if you're really worried about taking home a few bruises on your knuckles. An upgrade in terms of face protection would be my first purchase if you do decide you like airsoft and it's something very much for you. As I say, these are perfectly adequate for a little while. Some people use them as their primary sort of face protection because they just suit. They, if you only run the goggles, you get to expose your cheeks. You can get better cheek weld when you're attempting to aim down your rifle and stuff like that, but that's horses for courses. I personally, especially where my kids' safety are concerned, like to run something like a dye mask, which is it was initially specifically designed for the paintball market, but has since been heavily adopted by sort of speed soft and airsoft alike. And as a side note, if you are shopping around for one of these, there are a few companies who make masks that look identical to these, but they are not branded as dye masks. So they don't have that little symbol and they don't have the dye name at the top. And to be quite honest, it's a very, very dangerous practice because people buy the replicas of these for half the price and expect them to be as good. And they're really, really not. They are very, very dangerous because they can't take the shots as well as these can. These are absolutely superb. They are a little pricey. You'll pay over £100 for these, but they are well worth the investment for your own eyes. You don't want to go blind. You don't want to lose your sight. You don't want to lose your teeth, and these will protect everything and above. And you look pretty stylish wearing them as well. Other upgrades later on you could invest in is like a plate vest or a chest rig, which are obviously, as you see, a lot of military units use and everything, and will provide you. You're not buying them from a protection point of view. Yes, they will take the sting out of shots that hit you in your midriff, your side and your back and what have you, but the primary function of the chest rig is certainly in airsoft, is not to actually stop the rounds. It's just to provide you with A, the look, and B, the ability to carry ammo, magazines, grenades if you've got them, that kind of thing. Don't go, certainly from a beginner aspect, don't go investing huge sums of money into a chest rig or anything else, because you're not going to see any benefit over the cheapest chest rig you find on Amazon. They're all going to do the same sort of package. If later on down the road you decide this is really, really something you want to invest in and you love, by all means, everyone does it. We all go out and get much better equipment as time goes on. But as a beginner aspect, just see whether you like it first, And the same goes for rifles and guns. these G&Gs, M4s that are usually found as probably the most common rental rifle on the market are perfectly good, are very, very good in fact, especially for the money. You can pay for your airsoft rifles, you can pay astronomical sums of money, but these come in at, well, this particular one, the long barreled variant, comes in at around £130 and just represents great value for money because, you know, range wise, you're not going to get outranged by too much apart from the really expensive guns on the field. It's very, very durable and does everything you want it to. And you know, it is upgradable, so if you fall in love with it, you can purchase a whole host of upgrades for it later on and take it to the next level that way. But as I say, my advice would be go to the airsoft field, rent a couple of times, make sure the game and the sport is for you, and take it from there and invest as much or as little as you want from there. That's been my guide to what you need to begin playing airsoft. If you've enjoyed or taken anything from this video of value, then a like and a subscribe is always welcome, and I'll see you guys in the next one.